What are your impressions of the circuit you have to make here?
Well, it's a real tight turn at the far end. A short wheelbase truck definitely has an advantage. A long wheelbase truck like Bigfoot really has to work to get around that corner.
And yours is kind of a medium wheelbase truck.
No, I'm a long wheelbase truck, definitely.
Do you use the rear wheel steering aggressively in that tight turn?
In this type of turn, you have to use it. That's your main turning ability.
Now that those cars are a little flatter, are they a little easier to crush?
Oh, yes, they are. The course will be getting faster and faster progressively.
Good job.
Thank you.
By the time the night is over, those wrecks are going to look like pool tables, Steve. As we get ready with Don Fenley. Remember now, the Texas Funny Farmer's got a big chore cut out from him because Angler is really pulled it way. He stretched it way out, 182 feet here.
No, the Texas Funny Farmer is a tractor quite similar to the one that holds the distance mark so far, Tim Engler's Mission Impossible. There are 5 big engines, except they're not Hemis. These are great big Chevrolets or possibly aluminum Rodex-style Chevrolet motors. Now it's all shaking and vibrating. The front end is getting up a little bit too high. It stuck to the ground and suddenly it shot up. And did it come down hard? Look at the right front wheel. A very sturdy spindle is just snapped in half. A disappointing and expensive effort for Don Fenley. Let's take one more look, Brock. He was in trouble right off the bat.
He sure was. He got the tractor cocked sideways. Remember now, this tractor weighs over 4 tons. And those little tiny wheels are going to take a giant blow as all that weight comes slamming down right there. And there goes the wheel. An unfortunate break for Don puts him out of the competition, well short of challenging for the lead.
Well, Don, I'm sure you can tell by the list to starboard here, you got a problem up front, a broken wheel.
Yeah, we sure do. Well, we'll have her fixed tomorrow. They'll be back in here.
Now, there was a lot of flame out of the headers on one engine. A problem there?
We're too rich.
All right, well, sorry to see you broke your Funny Farmer.
Well, that's just part of it. We'll be back.
I'm sure he will.
Yes, sir. You can count on Don returning. As we go to the other end of the Astrodome, to that 80-foot mud bog and the open mud machines. Now, these are really wild little rascals, Steve.
Oh, yeah, a lot of them are supercharged and fuel injected and all kinds of things. This is an old Pinto body on a custom-built frame. It's Jackie Hunter. He's from Texas. It's called Crazy Horse. What else would you call a Pinto that's been turned into a mud racer? Let's see how much quicker these can go than the modified mud racers we saw earlier. Oh, boy, you talk about some steam and taking a rough ride. He got a little crossed up in the pit, but still is 0.2 of a second quicker than the first class. 2.09 seconds. 2.09 seconds to cover 80 feet in the mud. We won't know how competitive that is until we see some more cars in the class. Oh, boy. Firing up. One of the finest tractor pullers in the business, Bruce Hutcherson. While he's hooking up, let's go to Brock, who's with the first of the open mud racers.
Well, Jackie, you're saying just a 2.09, just a scotch over 2 seconds is only fair, right?
It should have been about a 185 to 195.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened? Looked like you got a little bit up on the wall here.
The pit's a little bit rough. Plus, I've been having a lot of trouble this year, just not working like it should.
All right, this is Bruce Hutcherson, as we said, backing up the Makin Bacon Special, one of the most famous tractors in all the sport. The hook attached to the rear of the machine. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 motors. He can run in different configurations. He's got 5 in now. These are big Hemis. The Makin Bacon Special. Bruce, at one time, was about half farming and half pulling. Now it's about 90% pulling. The man's got some good sponsors and can make a good living at it. Let's see if he can make some money here in the Astrodome today. He is still pulling, but he's starting to slow. Here comes the weight. It is going to stop him well short of the distance required to win the class. Only 167.37 feet for Bruce Hutcherson. He'll be disappointed, Brock.
He sure will. He is one of that group of major pullers that come out of the state of Ohio and Indiana. The Midwest dominates. Okay, you've seen some weird machines. You've never seen anything like this. This is David Peoples' Lone Ranger. Notice he sits way up front in a specially enclosed cockpit. A wilder machine than Jackie Hunter's, the one to beat. Now, before he runs, let's go to Steve and Bruce Hutcherson.
Bruce, you'd think 6 engines could get you 180 feet, but not tonight.
Not tonight. The sled's too heavy, Steve. You can't pull it.
Well, Tim Engler pulled it.
Yeah, he was number 1 to hook, and he's got a little faster gear. It worked for him.
All right, so if you were to change this, you'd go to a little faster gear?
Yeah, I'd probably go to a little faster gear, but I got the front end in the air. It's just one of those deals.
Okay.
Well, as you know, Steve, and the noise and confusion, we had a little miscount there. Actually, Bruce was running 5 engines on that pass. He is capable of running 6. And here come people through that 80-foot mud bog. What kind of time? 2.59 seconds. Not quite enough. So the lead remains in the hands of Jacky Hunter and the Krazy horse. Let's take one more look. It looked like a pretty decent pass. Didn't seem to be bouncing around all that much, but it just wasn't a hard enough charge to give David Peoples the lead. Okay, let's go to the monster trucks. This is Stomper 2, one of 2 Stompers. Stomper 1 out of competition. Earlier, Steve had a look at that machine.
Boy, you get a bird's eye view from the cab of the Stomper monster truck. You know, you might think this area would be kind of like a race car. Well, it's not. I mean, it does have a roll bar, but these guys like to go in style and in comfort. So it's got a stock dash with some added instruments and carpets and mats and the whole deal. The biggest modification is hydraulic steering. There's no way with these giant wheels and tires conventional power steering could handle it. That means you have to have a hydraulic pump to supply all the necessary fluid. Now, it's full-time 4-wheel drive with 3 forward gears. Now, Mike Wett, who drives this machine, says tonight on this course, he'll do the whole course in 2nd gear. He won't shift at all. Now, we've talked about 4-wheel steering. Here's how it works in this truck. With this lever here in the center position, all 4 wheels steer about the same. If he moves it forward, that will favor the front wheels. If he moves it back past center, it will favor the rear wheels.
Boy, you talk about ingenious engineering. This is Gene Patterson, the driver of Stomper 2. He is out of Jefferson City, Missouri.
And his competition in the quarterfinals here will be Steve Dane in King Kong from Killeen, Texas. Now, King Kong and Steve Dane, the crew, have been kind of fiddling with the carburetor, trying to get it to run on just the right mixture. So King Kong is over in the far lane. In the near lane is Gene Patterson, and it is Patterson and Stomper with a big advantage right at the start.
Oh, yeah, he just jumped right out into the lead. But King Kong has moved up and is challenging for the lead as they make that turnaround. The secret is going to be who makes that 180-degree corner, and it is King Kong with a big lead. Now, we've seen him brake before it's over. Notice that rear wheel steering on both the trucks, but it is going to be King Kong with Steve Dane at the wheel who will win this round.
And it appeared, Brock, that he wanted almost strictly on driving ability, making that wonderful turn down at the other end. Hey, more mud bogging action coming up. This is Stumpy 2, Randy Moore.
Now, what a wild machine and what a contrast to the blown Ranger. Here he goes. Bounced off the other end, 2.15 seconds. Not enough. Pretty good pass, but not quite enough to take the lead.
You better be in good shape to drive one of these things. Watch the front wheels and watch his helmet. He is getting rocked all over that machine. At one point, right here, the steering wheel almost rips his hands off the end of his arms.
Here, it just seems like a few hundredths of a second makes a big difference in a little short course like this. Yeah.
It really does. You don't have time to make any mistakes here.
Yeah, and it's also real narrow, I guess, huh?
It's a little bit narrower than we're used to running.
Thanks, Randy. And now let's go down to the 9,200-pound tractors. That is Hale Woodward getting ready to go in his big tractor. And in the meantime, Steve has rounded up Steve Dane, the driver of King Kong 3.